Welcome to round 4 of the Ultimate Mobile Racing League. For the second time in its history, we go back to the home of motorsport. This is the British Grand Prix, and of course, it is happening at Silverstone. There might be no G-forces in a top-down racer, but much of the challenge still upholds around here. From the historic, breathtaking corners, we are watching Matt now go through Copse for the first time, and this entire stretch through Beckett's Chapel, and all the way through Stowe and to the chicane. It's all flat out in this game. If you are daring to take this flat out, but the drivers will have to, in order to set a good time in qualifying around here. And let's take a look at our lineup here. We might see some controversial things here. We see Justin in the Etruria Racing Team, and we see Guillermo, who's now been demoted to the reserve driver due to mutual agreement between him and team owner Brasidas. And that allows Guillermo to race for Hurricane Racing Team. So the reserve from Hurricane Racing Team, Justin, is racing for Etruria. And that caused some controversy on the Discord, which you should all join, because that seems to be a loophole in the rules here. Some people are not too happy with it. Brasidas and Guillermo are. Guillermo just wants some pressure to be taken off him. And Justin, meanwhile, has once again set provisional pole position. He's our last pole sitter from the Portuguese Grand Prix. Sadly, he went down through the field again in the race then. And maybe he can now, with the backing from Brasidas and Etruria, finally stay up there, take his first podium, or even challenge for the victory here. And there's a front row lockout after 2 minutes of qualifying here, with Sigma Bob in second. Now Krusnet going to provisional pole for the Williams team. He's no longer the championship leader after the Portuguese Grand Prix, where Laguno did last to first challenge and completed it successfully. And Ayrton Senna, if I can call him that, is in second place now in qualifying here. It's incredibly close margins at the very front again. Matt is a bit further behind Sigma Bob here, just over a 10th. But the one-time driver seems to be closer to the top this time around as well. He told me to watch out for him this race. And let's see what he is going to produce. So far it's a sunny Sunday afternoon here, but the British weather could come around in the race. And it did so last time out. We're also watching Piggy now go through Copse, pushing flat out. He's currently in P7. As the checkered flag falls, he had his first and only DNF from the lead last time we were here. Now the session's been closed off. Is there gonna be any improvement? Pigeon goes across the line. Sigma Bob doesn't improve. Justin doesn't either. Paradrive is here. Piggy, Krusnet. No, the top 4 are set in stone. Krusnet on pole position once again. The second row goes to Etruria. The Italian team is looking good around here. Laguno will be the one starting in P5. He set that 35.45 before Matt. Then it's Piggy, the first of our home heroes. Nitro in P8 in the Minardi, 55 for Aston Martin, and Pigeon in the second MP Motorsport. Guillermo and Frankie set the same time as Pigeon. They start in P11 and P12 respectively, and Toaster and Lozier were also just 200ths behind them. That made quite a big difference here. Finn McMissile with 35.7 in 15th place, Majumdar and Paradrive with the same time. Not a good qualifying for S25M, and Phoenix returns to UMRL in 18th place for Aston Martin. 33 laps of action lay ahead of us. Let's go down to the starting grid. Senna is on the front row for the second weekend in a row. Krusnet this time is in front of him on pole position. And the race is on at Silverstone. Krusnet has the inside line going into the first corner. Senna and Justin are wheel to wheel immediately. Sigma Bob now is trying to pass his teammate here. Matt also in the second one time is up there. Laguna only starting in 5th position this time around, but he goes around the outside of Matt and also of Justin. At left field, Krusnet, Senna still as they were, then Sigma Bob. Podium finisher from the German Grand Prix last time out in P3 Nitro has had a good start. He started in P8, then Matt, Justin and Piggy racing into Stowe. 55 just behind that into the tricky final chicane here. But they managed to keep it on track. Laguno going very much to the inside and shoots Senna off the track in turn 3. That seemed to be a lag rocket of some sort. And I think there is rain on the radar now. Matt has taken the lead of the British Grand Prix. And it seems like when one-time drivers tell me to do something, it actually comes true. And now there's been a collision at Copse involving Piggy, involving Laguno as well. The rain is hitting the track and the chaos has already unfolded before that. Laguno is down to P13, now fighting with Guillermo in the Hurricane Racing Team. And everyone is going into the pit lane. Matt this time doesn't have to take a gamble. The Minardi of Toaster 64 has gone through. He's definitely up for a gamble around here in his own Grand Prix. I'm gonna have to go back up the order here. And Sigma Bob has gone past Matt, crossing it very much to the inside here in turn 7. There's a 2-second gap from Toaster over Sigma Bob. And the graphic has already been messed up, just like at the last British Grand Prix. It's definitely not 55 this far up. But he's also had a pretty good first few laps here. But it is Sigma Bob in the lead of the race. Matt is definitely losing ground here. Justin goes up to second. Make that a 1-2 for Etruria Racing Team again. Matt trying to face Justin towards Copse here. But Senna now goes around the outside of him. And Matt down to P4. The Williams only in P5 and P16. Laguna not making any progress. Is this a flashback to the winter season or the autumn season for him? It was the end of the winter season where his fantastic winning streak started. And Senna now trying to maybe go round the outside here of the loop, and he does go past Justin here. And Justin still able to stay at the front for now. In P6 we see Frankie. You might know him also as Alessandro, the guy who raced in the first 2 seasons of UMRL and also led the Brazilian Grand Prix in season 1 for a bit by making the right call. Then he made the exact wrong call after that, and Laguna went on to take his second ever win. And he's back to challenge at a rain-soaked British Grand Prix here, and the rain is gonna get heavier again. After the sun just got out for a bit. Oh, and Krasnit going very much to the inside of Matt here into Copse. A brave move from Krasnit. He's still gonna have to show a lot of bravery, but he is also wise enough to know that he should not stick his nose in at Maggots Beckett's Chapel if he doesn't have a serious chance to go past there. And Matt instead makes a mistake. Krasnit can't benefit off it though, out of the last corner, and that really bunches them up. And Frankie in 55 waiting for an opportunity to go past. Krasnit into the wall in the loop. Matt very much defending aggressively here, also helping out his teammate and the 2 Etrurias at the front. Frankie in 55 have gone past Krasnit. Now Losey in the other APA also going through. F1 fan not racing this time. Reserve driver from One Time now, who's been racing for APA last time out. And Piggy is now battling with Krasnit. The Williams have to fight with the other champions, which are further behind in the field this season so far. Guillermo only in P15, Laguno not making that great of a comeback as he did last time out, even though he was further up. And Senna has now gone up into second place again. Justin is very much with him here. They are as they were off the start, but Sigma Bob now out front. Finally, he's actually up there to challenge for a victory. He has done only 12 races before this season. I think that is now his 14th race, or 15th race overall. His best result was P3. but it still seems like an eternity. I think the winter season actually was his first one. And now, almost a year later, he is at the front here. British Grand Prix was the first video that came out this year, the last race of 2024. It has been a while. Frankie has to go to the inside to get a chance at passing Matt. He tries to do the switchback, but Matt and Frankie kind of collide there. And 55 into Brooklands gets his nose in, but that doesn't bring you a lot in that corner. Frankie with a good run off Cops, but can't quite make good use of it. And now we go into the pit lane for slick tires again. Is anyone gonna dare to stay out on the Inters still? Doesn't look like it. Sigma Bob chooses the mediums. Senna goes for the softs and is still ahead of Justin. Most drivers going for the mediums here. And when Piggy just side by side with Matt, I think it's kind of difficult for me to find the correct drivers again here because the order, yeah, is very strange again. Pigeon is definitely not in first place, he's rather in last. And now I think it's all going back to normal again, but the pit lane is really messing up the graphic here. Sigma Bob 1.5 seconds away from Senna, a Brazilian rookie who has been shining so far like a Crossnet or like a Guillermo. The next generation of rookies definitely is here. Justin is also part of that. And it very much does remind me of the Crossnet Guillermo duo, which took their first 1-2 around here. Guillermo took his first win around this track. And Crossnet his first pole. .55 definitely having his best race so far. Aston Martin's season has been very tough since the first podium from Norris at Suzuka. Norris is not racing this time, of course. Matt, Frankie and Crossnet having a three-way fight still. Oh, and Crossnet off the track. This time he did have his nose in there in maggots. I think Matt's still defending hard but fair here. And he covers off the inside for Frankie this time. Can he prevent the switchback out of the loop? Yeah, he does. Once again, bit of a touch to Frankie here. That is okay in this game as long as you don't run the opponent off the track. Crossnet now benefiting of the worst line that Frankie got here. And now Laguna gets really close to that pack as well. Together with Losey, down the hangar straight we go. They're all slipstreaming each other here. Frankie though on the inside at Stowe. Crossnet managing to stay ahead. It is possible to go side by side through these corners. And Laguna diving down the inside. I think 55 made a mistake, touched the gravel there once again onto the grass, and Laguna passes the two APAs and the two Aston Martins. Losey and Frankie now wheel to wheel on the exit here. They go towards Cobbs together, as do the two Williams in front of them. Laguna's also on the soft tires. He knows that he has to make a recovery here. And he might hope that the rain is gonna return soon and that it's paid off. And Laguna just powers past Crossnet on the hangar straight here. Maybe a bit of connection problems here for someone. But it has helped out Laguna anyway. Also, Matt has now lost ground. The top three are 4 seconds. 4 seconds away from the Frenchman here, who is now having to defend from the two Spaniards, which are currently dominating this championship behind him. Matt still forcing Crossnet to the grass here in Chapel. Now it's getting a bit feisty, I think. Oh, and Laguna very much on the outside, and that never worked. He did not have his nose ahead, at least on my screen, and taking the inside line here in turn 17, the second part of the chicane. That's a move that you almost never see, but something's happened now. Crossnet outsmarting Matt maybe with the better line here. And he's gone past, Laguna's gone past Frankie as well. And Matt is now down to P7. Oh, and Laguna round the outside here of Chapel. Defending from his rival and teammates. But mainly I think they're gonna be rivals this season. There is no other option, I think. And Krasny with a good exit though. And he now gets a lot of speed down the straight. They're not standing each other in the way too much. Because they know that they've got a lot of ground to make up here. 7 seconds to Justin, Senna and Sigma Bob. We're just letting the laps tick down around here. They're side by side after Stowe. Laguna this time lifts off. He won't do the same move that he tried against Matt, against Krasnet. He might do that in the final race, but not if they have to do a bit of a recovery drive. Phoenix has retired from the race. He's qualified in last, and I think he also was in last. Not a very good weekend for him around here. Into the pit lane come Sigma Bob and Senna. P1 and P2. Krasnet in third. Still going longer on the medium tires. They last 9 to 13 laps. 7 to 11 for the softs and 12 to 16 for the hard tires here. It's Krasnet on the outside ahead of Laguna. And the rain is coming up. Oh, this is great for Justin. We are seeing Senna and Sigma Bob still in first in the graphic, but that is definitely not true. Justin is gonna have a massive lead now after the rain hits the track and eliminates his two nearest rivals, and the other ones are 7 seconds behind anyway. Into the pit lane comes Senna again. Into the pit lane come the two Williams. Then 55, Losi Guillermo. And we're gonna have to wait how the order looks here. I think Krasnet in second could actually be true. Sigma Bob with that additional pit stop and with Senna together has lost massive ground here. No, he's not. Okay, the graphic was wrong. Okay, the gaps are actually huge at the front. Wait, but I'm gonna have to see who is who. So you see Justin here, leading the British Grand Prix as a rookie, just took his first pole position last time out. Also did some amazing drives already last year, especially at France. He just drove circles around his opponents, also in the rain. Now you see Sigma Bob and Senna actually in second and third. And the Williams are still behind. Okay, so it's actually quite some big gaps still out front. Also between Laguna and Krasnet. Krasnet getting away from our spring season champion here. And Toaster also retired from the race. Also started pretty far down, P13. And it's pretty hard for Minardi at the moment as well. Nitro is only in P11. And Frankie has now gone ahead of Laguna. Wow. The Williams supremacy definitely doesn't apply to Silverstone, as Laguna sticks his nose up the inside here. If he's gonna get it through to Chapel here, which he does, then he probably might have the position back against the Italian in the APA. And he does go back up to P6. So yeah, Krasnet on his own, as is Senna at the front. And then even further up, of course, the two Etrurias. But Sigma Bob now only in P2. The likelihood of seeing a first-time winner increasing lap by lap. Oh, and Guillermo, as I switch to his perspective, he's caught up on the entry of Brooklands here. And with some argy-bargy manages to stay ahead, actually, of 55. And he's in 8th position. His best result of the season so far is a P7, which is not up to his own standards. That's why he is racing in the Hurricane Racing Team. It's actually not the first time that this controversy has happened. It's also happened with the two team owners themselves actually racing for each other's teams in the spring season. Cato racing for Etruria and Brasidas racing for Hurricane Racing Team. But this, of course, does have a much bigger effect, because Guillermo normally is a champion that is set to win races. Now he's been replaced by Justin, but it seems like he can do the same at this point. And Guillermo can't at the moment. So we have pitted for the slick tires, Justin and Sigma Bob both on the mediums and going to the end of the race. And I suppose Senna, Krasnod and Laguna are also doing the same, but they're on softs. And Frankie, Losi, Guillermo. Frankie now 2 seconds behind Laguna. On mediums again, and Guillermo 55 and Majumdar are fighting here for 8th place. Majumdar, as 25 team owner this season, also having his struggles so far with his team, but he took P4 when he raced. This time that won't be the case. 55 is off onto the grass. And Majumdar is in P9. Guillermo staying clear of them at the moment. Sigma Bob and Senna, you can see they've made 5 pit stops. That only also applies to Finn McMissile and Matt. Oh no, Matt has been absolutely destroyed by the rain again. He's in P15. And that's just like at Suzuka, where he did make an extra pit stop. I think that might be one of his weaknesses, but it's also a lot of bad luck in here. I mean, Sigma Bob and Senna just did the rational thing, staying at the front. Justin maybe rather did a gamble. I think both options were okay. I mean, he just stayed out longer in the dry. So that also might have happened to Matt. But it is a pattern that you can see. Krasnod is still 1.5 seconds behind Senna. That was the same a few laps ago already. Between the two Williams, it's also settled down. And Frankie, Losi. Finally, it's going to be a good race for APA. I mean, F1 fan also took 5th position last time out already for them. But in terms of their main drivers, it's been tough. The 5 races before that. And yeah, still the highest battle for position here is between Guillermo and Majumdar. Majumdar just getting the space to dive up the inside of Stowe maybe, but that just gives him the outside line, then going into the chicane. And Guillermo defends like an expert here in turns 1 and 2. And Majumdar rather taking some interesting lines through left field. Still getting that slipstream, but also running into the back of Guillermo already in Chapel, so that kind of destroys his momentum towards Stowe. Two laps to go here. Senna is of course on the soft tires, and he's now within a second of Sigma Bob. I think his soft tires are slowly fading out of their peak performance window here as they are wearing off again. You can see to the top right. They are already turning a bit yellow here. The mediums are gonna be stronger and stronger. 2 laps left in this British Grand Prix. Sigma Bob's chances at his best result ever are growing, as Senna also just made a mistake again in Brooklands on the grass. Yeah, he's got incredible raw speed, Senna. He already made a few mistakes at Portugal as well, which might have cost him even a victory. But that is completely normal. That also happens to the best. And if he manages to flatten his errors out a bit, then he might turn into a true legend. Not because of his name around here. I think we can just watch Justin now going through these final few corners. I Maybe also look at Krasned. What's he doing with Senna? He's within half a second. Senna, don't make too many mistakes anymore or you're gonna lose your podium. Justin, though, is gonna go across the line. We have a new first-time winner in UMRL. It is Justin in his first ever race for Etruria Racing Team, replacing Guillermo, and he wins at Silverstone. It is a 1-2 for Etruria Racing Team. They have struggled this season so far, with Guillermo not racing that much and practicing that much anymore. But a brand new lineup, and now they line up here in the gravel out of turn 2. They managed to take a 1-2. What a recovery. Senna makes it 3 races in a row with a podium in 4 races in his career. Oh, and they were tied across the line. Senna and Krasned, wow. Well, that is gonna go to the stewards straight after the race, because there might have been some different POVs here from their game perspective. No podium for each of the Williams after they took 3 1-2s this season so far. Of course, they're still going to stay in the championship lead, but Etruria might actually be back in the fight. Justin has been there regularly, just fell down through the field in the last few ones. This time, he didn't. Alessandro Franchi, on his return to UMRL after a year or so, takes 6th position, and that is his best ever result. Once again in the rainy chaos, this time he actually stayed at the front. Losi P7 also his best UMRL race by far. Same can't be said about Guillermo, but it is a solid race looking at his season so far, and I think that is about what he wants to do this season. He narrowly beats Majumdar to 8th, but they're just worthy APAs who performed very well out of nowhere. Who took away a few of his points. 55 in P10. He was actually further up here. He wasn't quite close enough to Guillermo and Majumdar in the end, but still he takes home points for Aston this time around. And once again, I have barely talked about Piggy in the race then. MP Motorsport just take home 2 points from Piggy, but his success, which was denied 1 year ago, hasn't even been on the table this time around. Nitro takes home the fastest lap, so that's 2 points for him in 12th. Still a tough race for Minardi again with their team owner leaving the race. Matt takes the lucky number 13 in the end, and I think that definitely sums up his race here. Finn McMissile without a second eye in 14th in the Hurricane Racing Team, followed by Pigeon, who's also just having fun in UMRL at the moment, and Phoenix, who raced for Aston this time, didn't finish the race, and neither did Pero in the second S25M. Krasned retakes the championship lead. Senna and Krasned share the combined points for 3rd and 4th. That's 17 and 14 points in Krasned, of course, so it gets 2 more because of his 8th pole position in 13 races. And so Krasned has still been on the podium every race, Laguna hasn't, and Justin jumps ahead of Senna with his maiden victory. These two have the potential to take away some points from the Williams, at the very least. Sigmund Bob is in 5th, and this could become his most successful season to date. Elkrug didn't race today, now falls back. Same for F1 fan in P7, and he's tied with another champion, Guillermo. Then we have Majumdar and Norris still just inside the top 10. The perfect run from Williams only lasted 3 races, but the 65.5 advantage still stays. One time is down to 3rd. They actually have to catch back up to Etruria. APA now had 2 good weekends in a row, and that brings them to P4. But is this our first twist in the tale of the autumn 2025 season? Are Etruria actually gonna fight for wins again? The championship is already difficult at this point, but yeah, we never really saw that crazy dominance from Krasned and Laguna so far, and this time they actually fell behind here. Well, we're gonna see what happens next time out when we go to the Chinese Grand Prix for the first time ever. Track with very high tire wear in this game, and it could be very much a crazy race again. See you back here when we go racing there.